All right, welcome everyone to episode 2 of the One Last Year podcast. I'm your host, Sawyer Fields, back again.
I'm also your host, Ian Chandler. Also, back again.
I'm Jacob Summers. I don't remember if I was here last week.
And his
I'm
microphone.
David Ball. I'm here.
And his microphone.
Did I just get cut off?
Yeah, you did get cut off. No one cares about you, David. All right, we're back again for episode 2 of our incredible podcast. I'd say that episode 1 had pretty good reception. So, you guys agree? I think people enjoyed it.
I do agree. Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I don't know.
You didn't watch it? Okay. Well, we're here again for episode 2. If you enjoyed the last episode and are here again, welcome. We're just gonna cut right to the chase this episode. Last episode we talked about freshman year, and this episode we're gonna be talking about sophomore year. And spoilers. Obviously, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. That means next episode we will be talking about junior year. And once we're done with that, we will try to talk about things that aren't just school related. We will still hopefully start to have guests, but
Wait, we're not gonna talk about senior year.
Brother, we haven't started senior year yet. So before we get to like sophomore year, I want to talk a bit about something that happened before it that I think we all did, and that's driver's ed, because I did that right before our sophomore year. Jacob, I know you had something that you wanted to talk about with driver's ed last episode that we never got to.
Oh, I don't know what it was.
Oh, well.
I think I'll get to it probably. I'll remember.
That's okay. I have a pretty good driver's ed story.
You do?
Yeah. So, during my driver's ed, I ran 3 stop signs and like 4 red lights. And my driving instructor was like, "You will never get your license."
But you ran red lights? Like just straight through, or?
Yep. I just genuinely didn't see him.
How are you alive?
He's like, "You will never get your license. This is the worst driving I've ever seen in my life." But it wasn't my fault. Hear me out.
That's bullshit. But what was the sun in your eye?
The sun was in my eyes. No. So he was super strict on speed limit.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, if I would go a mile over the speed limit, he'd be like, slow down. If I'd go a mile below, he'd be like, speed up a bit.
Dude, I think I had the same exact guy. He hated me.
And I had to stare at my speedometer the whole time because it was one of the ones that was like specifically numbers because it was a new car, so it would show the number of how fast you're going, not the low gauge. So if I would go a mile over, I would have to slow down. I had to stare at my speedometer, so I couldn't look out. I couldn't focus as much on what's in front of me. So I was staring at my speedometer. I didn't see the stop sign.
Did he have like that, like the driver's ed cars where like he had a brake on his side?
Yeah.
So why didn't he use it?
He used it with me like way too much.
Really?
Dude, one time he stopped me in an intersection. It was a green light. It was like I think it was a yellow light we were going through, and he stopped me in the intersection to yell at me for like going over the speed limit. And there's like a truck that was gonna T-bone me.
And you all have the same instructor? What?
I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
My guy
I must have added a bar though. I don't remember that speedometer.
My guy told me he's only used his like brake once. He said. So I don't think it was the same guy because he was like this girl.
Was he bragging about that, or was he like?
I think he was flexing, but he was
my guy. He would always give me like a grade point like below my partner. Like if my partner got an A, I'd get an A-. Like he just hated me that much. I never got a better grade than my partner, even though we did the same exact stuff.
Man, that makes my driver's ed story sound way less interesting in comparison because my driver's ed was so tame. Like the most interesting thing that happened is like I saw a dead raccoon on the side of the road. And it's like, hey, look at that.
Very interesting.
Oh, I also almost turned the wrong way on a one-way. That's probably a little more interesting. But
I did that actually driving last week, so that's good.
It was really
but
you go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, David was talking about how he got like a grade point lower than his partner. My partner took 2 wrong turns in the span of like 30 seconds, and he gave her like a A maybe. And then I did like perfectly, and then I accidentally switched it to reverse when I was supposed to go to park. And I didn't even like lay off the brake, so I didn't even do anything, and he docked me like 30 points for that. He got mad, but I don't know.
What
It sounds like the guy.
what
yeah.
did you all take
Yeah.
driver's ed through?
This,
Through the school.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say it's on my like where you see all your grades. It's on there.
I got an S rank in it,
Transcript.
half a credit.
Because
I don't know if mine's on there.
I never really got like graded. Like he would like tell us how we did. He'd be like, "I'd give you a B," but I don't know if we ever had like actual grades. I could be wrong because I took mine through the.
I had
hardcore.
I had a whole like paper with like a score sheet, like a test.
No, I do remember taking like the online lessons that I hated doing so much.
I despised the online lessons.
Because with mine, there was like a timer. So it'd be like a screen, and you'd have to read through the whole thing. But there'd be like a timer, and you had to wait for the timer to go up before you could move on to the next page. So you could be done reading that page, but there's still like 20 seconds left on the timer. So you just have to sit there and wait. And the same would go
Yeah,
for like videos. Like some of the things would be videos. There was one slide where it was like a 40-minute video just all about one girl who died like because she ran train tracks, like she ran over them without looking. And it's like, I'm not undermining her death, but I don't need to watch a 40-minute video to know why you shouldn't drive over train tracks without looking. So
Yeah,
there were definitely a lot of
I
times where I just let it play and wasn't actually watching.
I
they
took
gave me a
driver's
2-hour
ed.
movie. They gave me a 2-hour movie in driver's ed, and I was like, nah, dude. I like went to the park and let my phone play, and I came back and I was like, whoa, these questions aren't even about the movie. That's cool. Good to know. It's like, what is a 15-mile-hour speed limit?
Why
How
is
fast do you go there?
why is running a red light bad? You could crash. Correct.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I took driver's ed after my freshman year, so I took it earlier than I think most of you guys did. We didn't have online classes. We just had a Zoom call where a guy would yap for about an hour at 8 a.m. in the morning during summer, and then that's it. I didn't have any like test questions.
I was expecting a Zoom call, but I had the same thing that Sawyer did. And I would put my laptop on my like a little living room table, and I would just sit there watching TV, and every now and again just hit my mouse, which was over the little skip button. So I wasn't paying attention at all, and then I would look up all the answers on the tests. So yes, I am a
Yeah.
model driver.
I had it like streamed to my phone, and I would just sit my phone next to me and like play Mario Kart and be like, I'm studying for driver's ed. Dude, I'm such a good student.
But yeah, we all have our license now, and we're all the most perfect epic drivers ever. Right, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So following that was the start of our sophomore year, which I don't really have any interesting stories for like the first day like I did freshman year. The most interesting thing that happened at the start on the first day of my sophomore year was one girl like threw up in gym class, like the period before me. So all I can remember is I was just walked in gym class the first day of sophomore year, and there was just like puke all over the floor, and the janitor was cleaning it up. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Sounds like heaven.
Huh?
What?
Sounds like heaven.
Heaven.
Sounds great.
For who?
That's kind of freaky, Jacob.
I didn't realize you liked that kind of stuff. Anyways, what about you guys? Anything else? Anything interesting happened to you first day of sophomore year?
No,
I-
I mean, honestly, for the whole first quarter of sophomore year was pretty lame. Nothing really happened. I had honors chemistry. We lit some bubbles on fire, but that's about it for first quarter.
I don't remember much from the beginning of sophomore year.
So over the summer, me and a friend of mine started my fan page. So when I came to school on the first day, everyone was asking me about it. That's about all that happened for me.
Isn't there like a video on the David Wall fan page that just has like thousands of views for no reason?
Yeah, it has a couple thousand, and it's just me with a straw making that sound where like the straw goes in and out of the cup. It's like really annoying.
You're sucking.
It caught on the algorithm.
And like all the comments were like in Arabic.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
That was
really cool.
Yeah, the most interesting thing that happened to me first quarter of sophomore year was also in gym class, and I can remember this was such a funny thing that happened. It was like one of the last days of gym, and these guys they brought 2 of the 1 chip challenge to class, and the 2 of them they both ate it, and they just started freaking out, and it was so funny because what ended up happening is they both were like hunched over at the drinking fountains in the locker room, just like drinking. And but the thing is if you know anything about the drinking fountains in the locker room, they're terrible. They're just so
Yep.
bad.
There's some of the shittest drinking fountains in the entire school. They
Yeah.
have the weird crank lever on the side. You have to turn them on. They
Yeah.
come out
Are
like
those
an
the ones
inch.
that like recycle water? They like
Huh?
have the stream down the middle. It's like this is what you wasted.
Oh
Is that
yeah.
at the middle school?
I don't
What?
know.
What's the one?
I don't know if they actually recycle water. I think that's a myth.
The drinking fountain was so like terrible that them using it for so long, both of them started leaking out of the faucet that they had to turn it on, and they didn't care. So by the end of that period, there was just like a lake on the floor of the locker room, like you could splash around in it. And I took a video of it on my phone. It's really funny,
There it
but
is.
I'm not gonna
But just
show it. I
you have
totally
to send
just
it to us after.
I will. But huh?
I don't know. I'm like racking my brain trying to think about what I did sophomore year.
We had a new
It's
principal. Mr.
we did get a new
Boley.
principal.
Mr. Boley got up and dipped at the end of our freshman year. He hated it that much.
Wait, so he quit? I thought he was
He-
fired.
No, he left.
No,
No,
he
he
left.
wasn't given a new contract.
Yeah, he
What?
was.
So he was
So
fired.
I mean, no, he wasn't fired as much as he wasn't re-signed as our principal.
Okay.
That's the same thing, dude.
That sounds pretty similar, yeah.
That's arguably
Well, yeah,
worse.
Yeah, well, it's like if you're like an athlete and your contract runs up, and then your team doesn't want you.
That man was not an athlete.
I don't know. I think he could run the 40-yard dash pretty quick.
Yeah.
I think it had something to do with how violent the school district was our freshman year. I think that's why he left. But we got a new principal.
How cool the school district was.
Or
Bring
huh?
it back.
What?
That thing.
Jacob, you just be saying things sometimes, and oh, there we go. My camera was being weird for a second there. Jacob, you just be saying things sometimes, respectfully. Anyways,
Not respectful.
Who was our new? Is that when we got Miss Kleppy?
yeah,
Yes.
she is
Okay.
our current principal. She's pretty
She
chill.
worked here before. What did she do? Right.
Vice
She-
principal.
Yeah,
Oh,
Who's our
who's
current
your
vice?
vice principal now?
current vice principal, Mr. Skillet, bro.
Mr. Skillet.
How does the dean?
I'm not wrong about that,
Oh,
am I?
No,
How does the
that's
dean
right.
do?
Yeah, no.
Missed all of like those middle-aged guy admin people all blend together. I don't know who Mr. Skillet is.
Wow.
You don't know who Kevin Felix is?
Dude, he rides a motorcycle to school. He's so
He do-
cool.
He does?
Yeah. Yeah, you've never seen him ride his Harley?
I've never seen
No, he has a Harley.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah,
Saw him at
dude. He
Wendy's
has
one
like
time.
Dude, I
He has
wish I was
aviators.
cool as him. Your resident. Does he have a leather jacket?
I don't think he had a leather jacket, but I wasn't looking close enough.
I think I know what we need to get him senior year, like a little birthday
Hey.
present.
Yeah, there you go.
that. Well, moving on from the start of sophomore year, I think the most notable things that happened for me sophomore year was a lot of the videos on Business Goose really kicked off because there was quite a few. There were quite a few. The first of it, which was the plan. You remember that, Ian? Ian was in that.
I do remember the plan.
So basically,
I wasn't in the plan as much as I wanted to, but
Yeah,
I
that's
could only
'cause-
be there
yeah.
for one day, and it was a 2-day filming process.
So what it was is you can go watch this. It's still on YouTube. But for our honors English 10 class, we had this project where we had to make like a satire of something.
Mhm.
So basically, I came up with this idea of like it was like spy films is really what we were going for, because the whole plot of it was like we were trying to cheat on this like test or quiz for our English class, and we just designed this elaborate plan to cheat on the test that kept involving more and more people as we went on. Because like Ian eventually shows up and he goes to Harvard as part of the plan to cheat on like a vocab quiz, and he creates this machine. I'm spoiling too much, but it was a lot of fun. But basically, filming it was a lot of fun because we went to Hoover Elementary School to film it, which it's not really doxing because in the background of the video, the entire time it just says Hoover Hawks on the wall. And it was so funny because a lot of people, after that video came out, people were coming up to me and were like, "Yo, where did you film that?" I'm like, "Hoover. It's set on the wall."
I remember that. Jacob, I know me, Sawyer, and David all went to Hoover.
That is not true.
Whoa.
That is not true.
Not true?
I did not go to Hoover, buddy.
Sawyer
I went
didn't
to
go to Hoover?
No.
I went to Paul Norden,
I went
dude.
to-
I hate Hoover.
I went to
Who went to
Grant Wood.
Hoover?
Jacob, did you go to Hoover?
No, I didn't go. I lived next to Hoover.
I swear to God, I have like core memories of you guys in Hoover.
None of us
I'm
went
the
to
No
only
Hoover.
sir,
one.
no sir.
He lived in Davenport.
Wait,
Oh
I
my-
no, I lived in Davenport at the time, but I went to Paul Norden Elementary in Bettendorf.
I can't believe I'm the only one here that went to Hoover.
where'd
but
you go to elementary, Jacob?
I went to Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, none of us went to
Yeah.
elementary school together. Ian.
Nobody else went there.
It was really cool being back in Hoover because they made a whole bunch of changes and like remodeled the 5th grade area.
Yeah, I
It
know.
was super nice to be back inside. and
I had
see
never
what-
been in there before.
School, it felt so small because when you're there, you're like 3 feet tall.
It's almost like the building's designed for 5-year-olds.
I know, almost, dude. But it was wild being back. I felt like the school. When I was younger, I felt the school was huge,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's not.
Yeah, the reason we were able to get in is because Jerry, who was in it, his mom works there, so she just got us in, and we just used their conference room. And I just remember after we were done filming on the second day, we started just running around the school. Like, we found this room with just a bunch of, like, dodgeballs, and we started throwing them at each other. Which probably wasn't very responsible of us, but, you know. I
It's
also,
not the bulldog way.
I also remember, it wasn't me, I didn't do this, but we went in the cafeteria of Hoover, and someone, like, tossed a ball up and dislodged one of the ceiling tiles. And we just pretended like that never happened, so...
Valid.
Everybody in that building.
I wish I was there for that. That sounds fun.
Yeah, because you left. On
that's
the-
right, the one day I could be there, I had to leave early for something.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that second day we filmed, we were like out in the rain for a really long time before we got into the building, because like Jerry was late.
I remember that.
Well, I mean, there's like overhangs.
Well, yeah,
Were you in the rain?
well,
that
yeah, we
sounded
were
good.
waiting in like the gazebo, but you know,
Mm.
we wanted to play in the rain, so
Yeah.
because we like to have fun.
Yes, here at Business Goose, we have the most fun.
At Business Goose, we have the most fun times out of anyone in Bettendorf High School.
Mhm.
Are you
Jacob,
going on to your other projects or?
my other
Yeah.
ones? You want to talk about the other
We-
ones?
I think we have to.
All right, let's
Yeah,
just run through them all. So after that was probably the most unique video on the channel, and it's called the worst Christmas traditions.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that one.
yeah. So what we did is I kind of wanted to experiment with like more YouTube style videos than like skits. So what it was, yeah, David and Ian were both there, and Ian was late, but we'll get into that. We made this video where we each made a presentation on our idea for a new Christmas tradition. Mine was like setting up booby traps for Santa Claus to help him lose weight. And like I did all the calculations on how heavy he would be if he eats like however many cookies every year.
I think I remember it felt like a game theory episode. Your section of that. You were
Huh?
calculating all this stuff. Yeah.
I was like, okay, so if he triggers 3 billion bear traps every year and has to dislodge himself from them, he will burn a total of 1 billion calories.
that'll
and-
drop him exactly 300 pounds.
Exactly. So if we do this every year, he'll lose 600 pounds every year, and by the year 30,000, he'll be a healthy body weight once again. But yeah, we recorded that at Jerry's house, which we rely on Jerry a lot for these videos.
Yeah, we do.
I'm starting to realize that.
But yeah, the worst part about that video was that Ian was fucking late.
Yeah. Okay.
You wanna
Much
talk-
like most things in my school career, I had procrastinated making my Christmas tradition slideshow.
Mhm.
So I was up till like 4 a.m. making the slides, and I half-assed it so much too. I didn't put any effort into it.
Mhm.
All of their presentations were a good solid, what, like 10 minutes long?
Oh, not that long, but
Yeah, I was
Like
gonna say like more like 5 minutes.
longer
5
than
minutes long.
yours.
Mine was like 30 seconds to a minute long.
Mhm.
Um,
Because yeah, I think we said like meet at Jerry's at what, like 2 o'clock, and you showed up
Yeah.
at like 4:30.
I think I woke up late or something.
Yeah, that's what
And
happened. You were sleeping because Caden was like calling you. Yeah, Caden had to walk because you were going to be Caden's ride there, and then Caden had to walk all the way there and was like, "Yeah, Ian's probably asleep."
much like most things in my school career, I overslept.
And
Got there late.
I just remember how disappointed we all were because like you finally showed up and we're like, "Oh my god, he's here!" And it was actually really good timing because Caden had just finished his and he was the last one.
hmm
So we were like, "Oh, he's here just on time, just in time for Ian Chandler's presentation." And it was the shortest presentation ever. Your Christmas tradition was just like, "All right, we're gonna get in a big circle. Your family's gonna get in a big circle, and you're gonna beat each other with baseball bats." The end. And we were so angry with you.
I remember
That's-
that was the first day I let Sawyer Fields down.
No, the first
Was
time you
there
let
a-
me down was the anti-drug commercial.
When did I do, what did I do
I don't think I
then?
mentioned this last time.
Took
So
steroids.
when we made that, we had like scheduled it for Thursday. We were like, all right, come over to my house after school Thursday to do it. And obviously we're still freshmen, so we need like parental permission to do everything. And you had not told your dad about the video until the day of. It was like during lunch that day at school, you texted him and was like, "Hey, can I go to Sawyer's house?" And he said no. And we're
Said,
like,
"Hell no."
and we were like, "Oh my god!" So we had to reschedule it. We just did it the next day, but it was still so annoying because
Yeah.
we were so ready. We were pumped up.
That was the first of many times I've let Sawyer Fields
No, because no, I'm kidding.
down.
But
Honestly, it's almost shocking I'm on this podcast now with how much I've disappointed you. I'm happy
you were
giving me this
late
chance.
the first episode for recording last
I
week.
wasn't late.
Yeah,
I
you
was
were a little
I was
bit.
dead on time. You guys showed up like 10 minutes early and was like, "Ian, where are you? We're about to record." I was like,
I told you to show up 10
He
minutes
told us
early.
to show up 30 minutes early.
All right, we're getting off track here. So, oh yeah, one last detail with the Christmas video is that Caden couldn't come up with one, so I made a presentation for him, and I just made it the worst presentation ever that he had to just like scramble his way through because he didn't see it beforehand. Like there was one slide where it was literally just like a picture of like 4 Santa Clauses twerking, and he had to be like explain. He was like, "Uh, as you can see, there's a Santa Claus here, and he's a
he's twerking.
man." But all in all, I honestly didn't really enjoy that video very much.
Yeah, me neither.
Like
It was
I
all
like
over the place.
I enjoyed like making my presentation, and I enjoyed
Mhm.
editing it, but I didn't really enjoy filming it because during it all, I was more focused on like the cameras than I was the actual presentations. Because I mean, you can see if you watch it back, like I'm constantly like glancing over at the cameras and like making sure they don't fall over, which one did, and I had to go fix it.
But that was funny. I made for a funny moment in the
That
video.
was silly business goose moment, but that wasn't even the last attempt at a video like that because we tried 2 more times.
We
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, we did. There were 2 other videos, which the footage of which are lost because I didn't like them. So
This also happened sophomore year, right?
yes, you were there for both of them. So I'm gonna jog your
I
memory
don't
here.
remember either of them.
So I wanted to try doing something like the Christmas video again. So I came up with a video that was like I made a Kahoot, game
I
for my
remember this.
friends. So I made this like 50 question ridiculous Kahoot. One of the questions was just like, whose address is this? And it was just Jerry's address. But
Just doxed him.
yeah, but the problem is that when we were doing that game at Jerry's house again, which I also didn't want to happen because like, man, I don't really want the background to be exactly the same as the last thing. But, similar thing happened while filming that. Like, I was more focused on the camera and how everything looked than I was, like, how much fun we were actually having. And then, we recorded that and we were done, and I just said to myself, man, that kind of sucked. So I kind of just deleted the footage right after. But then we tried one last time, and some people might remember this, and this was kind of embarrassing. I kind of regret doing this. But our school held a trivia night. Student council did, so David was there. And I thought it'd be a goofy, silly idea to, like, record it. Like, record our POV, and then make that a video. But once again, same exact thing happened. I was in the moment, and I don't think I answered a single question while at that trivia night because I was just like with my phone, just like, oh, gotta make sure to get the question in frame before we answer. Oh, time's already up. Never mind. And also, like, I probably looked really stupid doing that.
I actually didn't even know you recorded that.
We were in the corner. Our table was in the corner because Ian, you were there, right?
I was there. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You drove me there.
I think I remember you giving up halfway through the trivia and being like, "This kind of sucks."
Yeah, it was like halfway through. I was like debating giving up, and I'm like, I'll just finish it up anyways. But yeah, I don't think I'm a real big fan of doing stuff like that. I'm an in the moment type guy. I'm not like other kids in our generation that are just glued to their phone. You know,
Yeah,
He's not like the other girls.
I'm not like the other Gen Zers.
Sawyer doesn't actually even have a phone.
No, I record with
He
my
has to-
eyeballs.
He has to page us every day.
But yeah, a little strange that the guy who likes making videos hates vlogging. Which I don't even understand. You have to be like another level of like crazy to be a vlogger. Like I could not go into like a grocery store with a selfie stick and be like, "Yo guys, I'm gonna be buying some cereal. Let's go."
What's up, YouTube? Today we're gonna be buying these Frosted Flakes.
Today we're gonna be harassing strangers on the subway. Let's get into it. I cannot do that. I do not understand how people can do that. I hope that dies.
Take like a master class.
Huh?
Like a Casey Neistat master class.
Oh, I should. I'm sorry. I want to go on this tangent. This made me think of something. You want to know something that I hope dies out with our generation?
What's
What?
that?
Recording every single moment of children's lives and then posting it online. Because I saw this video the other day where it was like these 4 kids lined up and like the mom was manning the camera and she was I can't remember exactly what question she asked, but she was like, all right, everyone, what do you want to be when you grow up and why? And like each kid's looking like they were being held at gunpoint, like went down the line and were like, I want to be an astronaut because I think it would be cool. And then like after all 4 kids were like done, she like walked into frame and was like, wow, that's so cool, everybody. I'm like, why? Why are you making your kids do this? It's so weird.
That was like a parent thing.
Yeah, like the parent was recording that. Obviously, the
Yeah.
kids weren't like, "Hey, can we make a video where we all get in a straight line and tell what we want to be when we grow up?" I
Yeah.
just
No,
really want to do that.
So are you gonna be the change you want to see in this world? You gotta stop recording children yourself before you want
So-
other people to do that.
You guys are
We're children.
we're
We
adults.
need to-
We're men.
Are we?
Yeah, we are.
Right. Yes.
Let
Hmm
me see some ID.
Hold on. Let me pull out my ID real quick. Here it is.
That looks like a man to me.
Bettendorf Middle School 8th grade ID. Yo, wait, what the hell is that? Ooh. Wait a minute, 6th grade? I didn't know I had this one.
Wow.
Oh my god, now I gotta get my IDs.
Look at the forehead on that guy. What is that? Oh, that's like my bank account info. I can't show that.
I mean, you could.
But yeah, I think like just constantly. Oh, hi, David. Audio listeners, we've been flashing our IDs on the screen. I apologize.
Oh yeah.
Our middle school IDs. But yeah, I think it's a really stupid trend. Like I just see videos where it'll be like a 3-year-old who just spills food all over themselves. It's like, why'd you feel the need to post this? You know that your child's gonna see that one day.
Yeah. It's gonna come back when they run for president. They're like, there's this video circulating online of you when you were 3 spilling cereal on yourself. You have anything to say about this?
Also, like family vlogging channels, I just am not a fan of.
I hate vlogging channels in general, but
Because
family
there's this one that got into like a controversy. I don't remember the name, but like their older son, they basically made a video that was just literally titled "We kicked our son out of the house," and they like kicked their son out for like a week, and he like came back eventually, and he was like really sad and upset at them, obviously, and like they literally took a camera into his room and sat next to him and were like, "Hey, look at the camera. You're not mad at us, are you?" I'm like, what terrible parents? I'm sorry. I just don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, back to talking about me. The
What else? We have to talk about The Bachelor too.
Yes. So, like we did.
Another thing I wasn't.
You what?
Oh.
Jacob, you gotta speak up, mister.
Jacob, your mic is so bad. I can't understand you.
It's a different one though. It's a different bad microphone this time.
So what'd you
Well,
say?
you need to get a different good microphone.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. Whatever. That's a lie, but okay. So basically, second semester of sophomore year, I enjoyed making the plan so much that I wanted to do that satire project again. So when it was time for David to do
Yeah,
the
it's
satire
fine.
project, his second semester, I basically just came in and said, "Hey, can I do it?"
I thought it was Jerry's satire project.
Oh yeah, it was
Oh,
David.
it was a group.
It was David
a group.
and
Yeah,
Jerry. And Baxter
Yeah.
was also in your class, and he was also.
He
in it.
wasn't. It wasn't his project though.
Yeah,
He did a different one.
but basically, for that satire project, I wanted to mock The Bachelor. That should have been obvious. And the video is titled "The Bachelor," written by idiots. So all it is David's the host, Jerry's the Bachelor, and then the rest of us all became female alter egos. Ian became the iconic Ina.
We became beautiful.
And we all became beautiful and sexy.
Mhm.
And Ian torqued at the camera. Ian did a lot of things in that video that was just not part of the script at all. Like
Builds character.
there was a point where it was like one of the rose scenes where he was handing out the roses, and Jerry gave you a rose, and you're like, "Oh, thank you." You turned around and just bent over at the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, I'm keeping that in."
I wasn't in the plan much, so I felt like I had to make myself stand out in this one.
You were the most iconic character, but a lot of people kept making references to it and acting like I didn't know, and it was so annoying because like the weeks following the Bachelor video's release, like Ian, you'd be a part of a conversation and someone would refer to you as Ina, and then they turn over and look at me like, "Hey, you get it? Get it?" like in that video you made where his name was Ina. I know what you're talking about.
We did become celebrities for like a month after the video came out.
A week.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was more like
I mean,
a day or two. Yeah.
I wanted to feel special for.
I do remember the day it was shown in your class, like the following period in AP World. I remember people came to my class like, "Where's Sawyer? Oh my god!"
People loved it. I mean, compared to like the other projects that were shown that day, it was crazy. Like people were just like kind of falling asleep, and then we were the last ones to go, and like in total, because it took a little while to edit.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
And people just loved it when they saw it. So
Took a while to edit. I put my heart and soul into that, buddy. 30
Yeah,
hours.
David did literally nothing for that project.
But he had.
Whoa!
He was in the thumbnail. He was.
Yeah, I was the host. I had the longest lines in the show. You know how hard those were to memorize?
He had the
Ian?
longest lines, and he had the second most lines next to
Well, I
Jerry.
mean, compared to Sawyer, who had to spend 8 hours or something crazy like that editing.
30.
30 hours.
Yeah, we spent 8 hours filming at Middle Park.
He spent 30
Yeah,
hours
It was
editing that video.
freezing that day. I don't think
Oh
we
my
talked
god,
about that
yes.
enough. It was so cold and so
Filming the
windy.
Bachelor video was so. You were wearing shorts that day, Ian.
What?
I
Yeah.
don't even remember it being cold.
Oh, okay, mister. No, it sucked because I was like
Being sick.
getting sick that day, and I was sick. That's another reason it took so long for me to edit, because like 3 days after we filmed, I just didn't start editing because I was sick. But when we were filming that, I was shivering. I was
It was really
dying.
bad.
Also, I think when we were filming that, I think that's when I discovered what second wind is. You know what that is? It's like how when
No.
like you get so tired, like you're getting more tired and more tired and more tired, and then all of a sudden you just get this huge burst of energy out of nowhere.
I
That
know what you
happened.
Mm.
Because I don't know Ian, David, were either of you there the entire time filming?
I think I was there for pretty much all of it. Maybe the last.
Yeah, I was there until like the very end, but I wasn't there for like the scenes you did outside of Middle Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, we did film a couple of things like the next day, but um, during the filming we were there for like 8 hours, and for like the first 5 hours, I was like all business, right? I was serious.
I
And,
remember that.
and then for 2 hours, I was like dead. I was getting so tired. I was cold. I was sick. And like every time we got a scene done, I was like, yay, all right, let's move on. But then for some odd reason, that last hour, it felt like I was on crack. I don't know if you guys were there, but like we'd finish a scene, like it would be like one of the last scenes we were filming. We'd finish filming, we'd get it right, and I'd be like, hey,
Yeah, I
we
remember
did
that.
it.
Yeah.
I was jumping up and down. I was jumping for joy. I was throwing things. I don't know what was going on with me. But
I remember filming The Bachelor was probably one of my favorite times ever filming anything, because there were so many different characters that there were times it felt like an actual like production, because there were times when only two people were in a scene, everyone else was sitting around like in the gazebo while we were waiting for you to finish it, and then Sawyer would finish the scene and call over, all right, I need David and Jerry for this next one.
okay,
And
what's going on with my camera? Do you guys see this?
yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
I think my eyesight's going out on me here. You're a little fuzzy.
Let me get close.
Oh.
just stay that close for the whole.
Oh, there he
There we
goes.
go.
There
There
he
we go.
goes.
All right, I apologize, video viewers. I'll have to get that figured out. You know, this podcast, we're trying to improve with every episode. So, and anything else that happened when we were recording The Bachelor that you remember? I remember David was getting really upset at how much he was messing up his lines.
Yeah, it was a mix of me being cold and me messing up the same line over and over again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I guess the last video I made sophomore year was my student council election video, because that was the year I ran.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to brag, you know. I know that's not like very Stuco of me, but I kind of had the best one. I'm not.
Well, and it also led to this year people caring more about their videos and like putting more production into it.
Mm-hmm. So I was the only one who had like an edited. Jacob's video was fire this year.
You just David's just giving all your credit, all my credit to your video. He's like, yeah, so Sawyer pretty much like spurred him on and like did all the work.
Okay, so you're
Well,
saying
I wasn't saying just yours. I was just saying like in general more people weren't sitting in front of a Chromebook screen just talking.
yeah. So
Because after I saw how good Sawyer's video was, and I mean, no offense, Sawyer, but you basically got on student council because of your video.
oh yeah, I
Because of
know, I know.
because of how good it was. That's when I decided. I mean, maybe I could get on student council next year. All I have to do is just make a good video, and then I'll get on.
Yeah.
So that's what made me want to do it.
Well, you got to make a good video and you got to be a good person. So
Well, Jacob, you're a good person. I'm less. I feel less of a good student, at least.
You're a good person with a bad mic, Jacob. I apologize. I'm sorry.
okay.
Don't apologize.
What were you saying,
You
Ian?
need to fix that mic. I don't remember. I was just saying, Jacob, you're a good person. Don't feel bad that you didn't get on this year.
It was
I'm
rigged
not worried
anyways.
about it.
They told me.
It was
More about it.
definitely
I'm
rigged.
kidding. I'm kidding.
They had to have added new slots just so they wouldn't have to get rid of people, right?
Mm,
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
they added the marketing spot for Sawyer.
yeah. I mean, they were already planning on doing that, but
Yeah, because they added 3 new slots only for his senior class.
yeah, next year on student council, there's going to be 16 seniors in total,
Really?
as opposed to like what 12 juniors and then 10 freshmen and sophomore.
Yeah, I was gonna say for like our like buddy system, everyone basically has a partner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my election video sophomore year. I mean, it was still me sitting in my room. I remember I was right here, and in the room. I had to take down poster right there. Anyways, basically what it was. I mean, recording that video was so funny because I pretty much just set up my camera and started yapping for half an hour. Like there were 3 separate versions of the video. Most people listening to this probably remember if you're in our class, but like the video was basically me going like, "I'm Sir Fields. I want to be on student council, and you're gonna put me there." But there was like other versions of the video where like I had a completely different mood. Like there was one where like there was this bit where I was talking like this. I was like, I'm not really that different from other people, but I think that I can still help out on student council a lot, and you should put me there. Good thing I didn't go with that, because that would have not been as funny. But there was also another joke. So in the final cut of the video, there's a bit where I say, "I want to be on student council, and you're gonna put me there," right? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Well, when I actually recorded that scene, I kept talking, and the full line is, "If I want to be on student council, and you're gonna put me there, and if you don't," and then it cut. And it was really funny. Like I was laughing hysterically when I edited it. I was like, "And if you don't," and it cut to just this black and white smiley face with like music box music in the background. And I was like, "Oh man, this is so funny." But then I was like, "Wait a minute, no, they're totally gonna take this as a threat."
Yep, they would have. Yeah.
No, it like cut to like this like cursed smiley face, like, eh. Yeah, good thing I didn't keep that in,
Yeah.
or else the
Anyways,
video wouldn't have been approved.
Yeah, you would have had to edit it.
Yeah, good thing that's never happened
But-
before though.
Anyways, is there anything that happened our sophomore year that doesn't relate to Sawyer Field's videos?
Oh yeah. I'm not done talking about it though.
Oh, okay. I thought that was the last one.
No, but yeah, what you said about me only getting on student council because of the video. Yeah, I know. Like I totally understand that because during my interview that first year, I kind of lied because like they asked a question that was like, "What's the main reason you wanted to join student council?" And I gave like the simple answer of like, "Oh, I want to help out with running events and all that stuff," which is true. I mean, I do. I really enjoy doing that stuff, but the real reason I wanted to join was like I wanted to help with the videos, but I didn't think I make videos was a very compelling argument for joining student council. So I just kind of lied. So my answers in the interview didn't really come off as super sincere. So I am 99% sure that if my video wasn't as well received as it was, I would not be on student council right now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely the same for me this year.
Because Ian ran this year, also had a video with a bit of editing, he had a green screen, and a lot of people seem to really like it. I'm just gonna say I feel like Ian, you probably got on by popular vote.
Yeah, me too. Finn wouldn't tell me.
Oh, yeah, they
but
won't tell you, but
Yeah, they won't tell us even like
I
10
don't-
years from now.
I don't
They won't
get
tell
why
us.
not.
well,
I
it's
won't-
because it will go to your ego if you know.
Yeah, it would.
Also, it'll upset people who didn't get any votes.
No.
Well, I mean, I already know I got on by popular vote.
I already know I
so-
got 100% of the votes. Of course, everyone voted for me. Everyone loves me so much.
I don't need to see the numbers.
I know it's like 100%, but yeah. You want to talk about something else, Ian? That doesn't have to be about me, because I've been yapping for a while.
You see, I would love to. I just don't know.
You don't know.
What to
Well,
say?
maybe you should have prepared better for this episode, buddy.
Dude, I could have spent 3 hours preparing and not come up with anything. I did nothing sophomore year. I went to the homecoming dance. That was probably the most eventful thing.
Yeah, but it was
Good
nowhere
job.
near as fun as our freshman year homecoming dance.
Yeah. And I didn't even go to
It-
that one. So
It was oddly normal.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Too
there's
normal.
there's no good
Mm.
stories from sophomore
Well,
homecoming.
they took away the shoe room.
Yeah,
They
they
did?
did let us wear shoes that year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm ungrateful. I don't know what I'm missing. I never had to deal with the shoe room.
You want to know what we did have to deal with?
What's that?
Minga.
That happened
Minga
in
got
sophomore year?
introduced.
At
Well,
the
yeah, for like the last
end of
like
sophomore
month.
year. And the teachers lied to us because they were like, guys, this is only we're only testing it. It only is gonna be around for like a month. It probably won't be here next year. And that was cap. It's here to stay.
So,
Mr. Block, he told me they got like a 4-year contract for it or something.
mhm.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, um, before for like our freshman and sophomore year, anytime you wanted to go to the bathroom, you would just go to the teacher, ask to go to the bathroom, and then they'd like have these. Typically, they'd have like a stack of like slips, and they just like write your name on it, and then like the time and where you're going, and then they hand
People
it to
know
you.
what bathrooms are, dude.
Okay,
It's pretty
Jacob,
insane.
just giving an explanation real fast because
Hey.
I'm leading into something.
Hey.
So basically, they'd hand you the pass, and then you're supposed to hold the pass while going. But there's apparently an issue with students like asking to go to the bathroom and then just not coming back to class, which I would argue is not an issue with the pass system because I pretty much wore a hoodie to school every day freshman and sophomore year, and every single time I would just shove the pass into my hoodie pocket so you couldn't see it. And in my 2 years at BHS, I was only ever asked by a teacher to see my pass once, and it was by a substitute. It was by a substitute teacher who asked to see my pass, and I pulled it out. It's like, here it is, and then I went to the restroom. So I really don't think it has anything to do with the pass system, because there was another time where Ian, you'll probably remember this. In our German class, we had to make a video or for something, and you remember, like I made it. All right,
I
well,
mean, you have to be more specific.
it was about like the Abi Ball. It was like about going to the prom. Abi Ball's prom in German.
Oh, I do remember that.
But
I had to phone in
basically,
my audio.
yeah. So what happened is we were recording in the hallway during class, and we finished up like my bits. And what I did is I just walked away from all of you and just sat on a bench in the middle of the hallway, like really far away from you in the middle of class. And I was sitting on my phone there for like 15 minutes. And during that 15 minutes, like 3 security guards walked by, a dozen or so teachers walked by. A lot of them made eye contact with me. And a single one of them was like, "Why are you here?" None of them were like, why are you over here? Shouldn't you be in class?" So
Mhm.
I would argue that a lot of the issues with students skipping class can be attributed to the school's bad enforcement of
Yeah.
hallway policy.
I feel like a top tier strategy to skip class would be to
Be on student
sit
council.
that.
That's
But
a great way, yeah.
I mean, just sit like outside of a random classroom and just be on your Chromebook, and every teacher walking by or every security guard walking by is just gonna assume we're doing something for that class.
Are you saying like just skipping class and not showing up at all, or like?
Yeah, just don't show up at all and just sit outside a random classroom just on your Chromebook.
I was thinking like you asked to
Like you're
use the
working.
restroom and you're like, "Can I take my Chromebook with me?"
No, no, no,
Yeah,
no,
that
no,
would be
no.
really weird.
I mean, at that point, why not just leave the building respectfully? I'm not encouraging it. I'm not encouraging it. Don't
Then
skip
you have to
class.
then you have to figure out how to get back
Go to
inside.
school. You walk in.
For real? Oh
So
yeah.
there's like a main entrance, or like you wait until someone's walking like down a hallway, and then you just like
True.
point at
Because
the
when you
door,
walk
and then
back
they'll
into the
open
school
it.
during the school day, you have to show your ID, but like they don't actually check. Like you might remember this. I have an ID of someone who does not look anything like me in any capacity. I'm not gonna say who, but very, very, very obviously not me.
It's
Kind of
And-
nuanced.
It's not even the right race, right?
Yeah,
Like,
not
yeah,
even close. The hair's not the same. Nothing about us matches. And I have his ID. And one day, coming back in from lunch, like the attendance lady, you like show her your ID. I used his ID as a joke. I held up his ID. She like looked at it all close and was like, "All right, go on in." Like, are you not even looking? It's not me. It's not my ID. But
I feel like all they check is the
just that it is an ID.
yeah, it's an ID of the correct grade.
I mean, maybe not. I don't know. But
I don't know.
Just to see
but,
if you can go off campus. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
my sophomores, you have to get a special little like sticker or a special little thing on your
On
ID,
your ID, yeah.
once you leave campus to go to lunch. But all the upperclassmen can just leave.
Mhm.
But my mom refused to let me get the little lunch pass. I was like, why not? I want to go off campus and eat lunch. And she wouldn't do it though. So I devised this mastermind plan because I always see kids just take pictures of their IDs and just show them the picture. And I was like, well, I know this kid that has a sticker on the back of his ID. So I'll just take a picture on the back of his ID just of the sticker and just show it to him, and they'll probably just let me in. I'll be like, I don't know, I don't have my ID, but I have this picture. And I did that for like a month straight, and they just let me in every time.
You're such a bad boy. Don't skip school though, kids. Bad for you. Go to school.
I wasn't skipping. I was just.
Oh, he skipped lunch. Oh no.
Ah, you're gonna
Sorry,
get an F.
guys.
You're gonna get an F in lunch.
No.
But back to the bathroom pass thing. Oh, can I just say, with my mention of the security guards, minus the one that everyone likes, they suck.
Yeah,
I
they
don't
do.
like them. Like, there's one.
It's
I won't say her name, but you'll probably know who I'm talking about. I had a friend who, like, I talked to once, and I think he described her best. She seems like a TSA agent who got fired and had to pick up a job as a security guard at a high school. And this isn't our officer. No, he's fine. I'm talking, like, we have security guards.
yeah.
But, like, one of them, I don't like her very much at all. Because this one time, sophomore year, I was coming back up from lunch to go to my third block with my friends Olivia and Eliana. And Olivia had to, like, blow her nose or something in the restroom. So her and Eliana both, like, turn away from me and start going into the restroom. And they see the security guard lady in there. And Olivia, I guess, just didn't want to blow her nose in front of other people, whatever. So the two of them turned around and started walking back out. And the security guard lady went, "Hey, stop! Why were you walking away when you saw me?" And she, like, assumed that the two of them were up to no good. And right there on the spot gave them just, like, for pretty much no reason, a complete backpack and body inspection. Like, she was patting them down, and, like,
That's kind of wild.
it felt like an overstep in my eyes, because it's like, what? They just walked into the bathroom and then walked back out. Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They had to have been up to something.
Yeah, I mean, what were they doing in there?
I'm really glad I was far enough away that she didn't realize I was with them, because that would have been really unfortunate.
Yeah,
Okay, what were we talking about? I was talking about Minga, right?
but yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay. I keep going off track. I apologize. But so their solution to kids skipping class while going to the bathroom was they introduced a new system, which is this electronic system called Minga, where basically, if you want to use the restroom, you have to go ask a teacher first, because you still have to do that. You ask the teacher to use the restroom. Then instead of just going, you have to open up your Chromebook, open up the Minga app, and then, like, pick what bathroom you're going to, what teacher you have, and then you're given a 5-minute timer to go and then get back. And that's the solution, apparently. But no, because it's not enforced either. Because, for one, they're like, oh, if you're late, if that timer goes off, you're going to get in trouble. I have gone over the 5 minutes so many times, and
Yeah,
nothing's happened.
I rarely ever get back within 5 minutes.
But, I know I shouldn't be saying stuff like this, as a student council member, most of the time I don't even fill it out because I don't want
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Because like in our pre-calculus class, Jacob and David, I sat in the back of the room, right? If I had to use the restroom, I didn't want to get up, walk to the front of the room, ask the teacher, "May I use the restroom?" And then instead of just leaving the room, go back to my seat at the back of the room, get my Chromebook out, fill out the pass electronically, and then go. That's such a waste of time.
And then after you fill out the pass, you have to go and take an actual physical pass.
Yeah, and then they
And those are nasty because they're like not paper anymore. They're like laminated like lanyards that you
Yeah,
wear.
they
And like
introduced
I'm not gonna be
lanyards.
touching that.
And just like with the bathroom passes before, they don't enforce it because like our
No, they don't.
pre-calculus teacher didn't have one, so I would just go to the bathroom without one. And again, never during this past year, when walking around without a lanyard, did any security guard or teacher ever ask me, "Hey, where's your bathroom pass?" And teachers don't check if you fill out the Minga passes anyways, because like you'd ask to go to the bathroom, and they're like, "Did you fill out a Minga pass?" And you're like, "Yep, I did." They don't check.
Mm-hmm.
I only ever had one teacher that would check.
Mm.
I think we know who.
I know who.
I'm not gonna name drop.
No name drops here, everyone. But yeah. Oh yeah, and also when they introduced the system, they had like a video for it, and they had some of the dumbest reasons ever as to why they were implementing this. Because they said in the video, there's one part where they said, "Oh, because you're inputting electronically what bathroom you're going to, we know where you are in case of an emergency." And one of the emergencies they listed in specific was a school shooting. But it's like the first rule of school shootings is if it happens, the teachers are all supposed to lock their doors regardless of if there's a student in the bathroom. So it does not matter if oh, guys, before we lock the door, Sawyer's going potty. Yeah, I think it was a really dumb like excuse of like, "Oh yeah, we know where you are." Like, so what? It does not matter.
Still can't do anything to go save you.
Yeah. But speaking of that one teacher you mentioned, Ian, there's something I've wanted to air out and rant about publicly for a very long time, and it has to do with a very specific AP World History assignment. Ian, do you know what I'm talking about? David, do you?
Yeah, I know what
I
you're
know what
talking
you're
about.
saying.
Which
I was the
one?
only one in that class. You didn't even ask me.
Oh yeah. You know what I'm talking about, Jacob?
Hopefully.
Okay. This
I know.
is the dirtiest I've ever been done in my life. At school, at least. So, sophomore year at AP World History, and part of this class was we had these like note-taking packets. Note-taking, all right? They're notes, all right? That is very important to this story. So, basically, every week or so, we were given these packets, and they had like 50 or so questions, and you're supposed to use the AP World textbook that we all had to fill out and answer all the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And again, these were note-taking packets, so it didn't really matter where you got the information from. Just so long, because like you could copy the answers word for word from the textbook, and it'd be perfectly fine. So, what a lot of kids started to do, because I personally think that these are a terrible way of taking notes. We were told that we should use them for studying, but I never did.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
didn't
feel like
either.
when you're reading the textbook looking for answers, it kind of takes away from the whole point of like note taking and writing stuff down that you personally think you need to know. Because you go from reading the book to just skimming for answers, and that's not very good. So since these packets were pretty useless to a lot of us, I won't say who started it, but a group chat was started in our AP World class. That was pretty much just everyone in our class, and in this group chat, people would just post the answers, right? People would like screenshot their finished packets and post them in the group chat, and there they would be. So people wouldn't have to just spend an hour reading the textbook. And I personally try not to use it. Most of the time, I would only ever use it to get the answers for questions that I missed on my first time through. So I wasn't even like a bad guy. But again, I personally don't view using that as cheating because, again, it says on the top of the page, note taking packet. It is note taking. So copying the answers, no matter from where, doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So basically, uh, I'm a big time management person. So a lot of the time, I would try to get these AP World note packets done in my German class. The thing is, with our German teacher, which Ian and I had the same class, is she, for whatever reason, one, doesn't like me at all, and is such a huge stickler for doing homework for other classes, and I don't know why. Like, we'd be in independent work time in German class, and like the packet would be due tomorrow. I'd be working on the packet. She'd come over to my desk and be like, "Oh, what are you working on?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm working on this AP World packet." And she's like, "Well, did you finish your Duolingo assignment?" I'd be like, "Well, the Duolingo's assignment's not due until Friday, and it's Monday, so I don't really need to work on it right now." And she's like, "Nope," and she'd take my textbook away. And it became so consistent because I would like just have the textbook sitting on my desk. It wouldn't even be open, and she'd come over to my desk and just take it for the whole class period. She did not want me working on it, and it was so. I'm getting angry. It was so stupid because the following year in our German 4 class, which I also had with Ian, there was a sophomore who named Gabriel. He was working on an AP World note packet just like I had the previous year. He was doing it. He had the textbook. He had the notebook. Our German teacher comes walking over, and I'm like, "Oh, here it comes. She's gonna take his textbook." She goes up to him, asks him, "What you working on?" He says, "Oh, I'm just doing an AP World assignment." And she goes, "Oh, okay, carry on." What? What is that? And I snapped. You probably remember, Ian. I raised my voice. I was like, excuse me. Why didn't you take his textbook away, miss?" And she's just like, "Oh, well, you see, you see, he's doing it at an appropriate time, Sawyer. You would take my textbook when it was closed. What do you mean inappropriate time? There was no appropriate time when I tried to do it. That is ridiculous."
I I remember that day, the day Sawyer snapped in German class very vividly.
I was so angry because it's like, what? But this isn't even the worst bit yet. So going back in time, back to sophomore year, I had like gone through the packet, and I only had like 4 questions left that I like missed the answers for. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna open the group chat, and you can call me dumb for opening the group chat in class. I didn't think anything would come out of it, and it shouldn't have. But basically, I have the phone under the desk. I'm like, copying the 4 answers from the group chat, and our German teacher comes walking over, peers over, sees my phone, and is like, "What's that?" And there was no way I could lie my way out of that, so I just was honest and said, "Oh, it's just the answers for the note-taking packet." But again,
Definitely. You could have said, "I'm just texting my friend."
no.
You could have, I'm texting this group chat or something.
When
I
I'm
don't
like when I'm like peering over at my phone and then peering back over at my paper and writing, and then looking back on my phone and then writing, like there's no getting out of that.
You could have said you looked something up very important to the assignment. I think there was ways you could have gotten out of it.
Okay, but regardless, after that happened, that same day I turn in the packet. Next day, I'm in AP World. I get called out into the hallway by our teacher. And I don't hold anything against our AP World teacher. She's fine. She kind of had to do this. But she says to me, she's like, "So, your German teacher told me you were cheating on your note-taking packet," which again, note-taking packet, you can't cheat on it. It's the digital equivalent of if you're in class taking notes and you miss a slide, so you go to the guy next to you and like, "Hey, can I copy your notes from the last slide? I missed some." Like, that's not cheating, is it?
No.
So how is it
no.
any different? I'm getting angry. This is the Swordfields ranting segment of the podcast.
There's a reason he's this upset about it because I think you're about to get to
I'm
it.
gonna get to it. So our 8-year-old told me, so I'm gonna have to give you a 0 on this packet, and that 0 is the reason I didn't get an A in the class. I would have gotten an A. I got 100% on the final. I got like a 95% on the last test before that. But that 1-0 was the difference between an A and a B. And but
I think this was a learning experience.
what was I supposed to learn? Like our
Not to cheat
German
on
teacher
notes, so hey.
went out of her way to snitch on me for doing something that did no good for anybody. It made me upset. It ruined my grade in AP World. It made our AP World teacher upset because she discovered the group chat, and that the same day she gave like a whole speech to our class about it. And now she has enemies. Our German teacher. Like, what was I supposed to learn? Not to ask people for help? Like, no, and it was so funny because that same day where I got the 0 in advisory, we took this like quiz where it was like one of those strongly agree, strongly disagree quizzes about our school. And one of the questions I laughed at because it was like, do you feel that you have friends at this school you can ask for help with on assignments? You bet. You bet I do. God. I'm so angry.
And didn't that like ruin your 4.0 GPA?
No, I lost my 4.0 in Honors English 10.
Oh, okay.
But, you know, just terrible world we live in.
Yeah. It truly is.
Okay.
Can't cheat on note-taking assignments.
Does anyone else have anything they want to say about sophomore year?
Yeah. So sophomore year, I took the class Life of Dinosaurs. And Sawyer, you took the class, right, this year?
Yeah, I
The actual class is not difficult. It's just, like, it's movies every Friday. Like classwork is like write a journal about this dinosaur and why it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You get 10 out of 10. But that's not the interesting part. The class was kind of boring. But like fourth quarter that year, since it was the first year of this class, he like tried his hardest with admin to get a field trip to the Field Museum in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually like pulled it off last year. I don't think they did it this year, did they?
No, they didn't do this.
Yeah, they didn't. They were like, that was not worthwhile. But we went to the Field Museum. We drove up 2 hours this museum, and it took like an hour and a half to get in. With like a school bus of like 23 people trying to get into this like high security museum. And we walk in, and there's maybe 17 minutes of like a guided tour around this museum. They kind of rush it. They like run us through the entire museum, and they're just like, "Okay, we got 4 hours. Just go walk through the museum, whatever you want." And I had like no friends in this class that went on the trip because they were like kind of trying to hide the fact that they went in this class. They were like, "Nah, I didn't take Life of Dinosaurs. That was somebody else. I think you're thinking of somebody else." So I was the only person
Why
on
were
the trip
they?
that I
Why were they
didn't.
trying to hide it?
I don't know, man. I
I
don't
mean,
know why
it's
you
kind of
wouldn't
like
be free.
you're in high school and you're taking a class about dinosaurs. Because I have some friends that like the other day I was like telling them like, I finished fourth quarter of junior year with all A's and 1B, and they're like, what classes did you take? And I'm like, Life of Dinosaurs. They just started laughing at
No,
me.
guys. I took Experience of Neanderthals. I didn't take Life of Dinosaurs, you nerd. What are you talking about? So I'm just like walking around this museum by myself, and it's like a slow day. It's a school day. There's nobody there. Just looking at bones, and then like 2 hours in, I'm like, okay, I'm a little hungry now. I gotta go find something. And then I had to walk down to the first floor and find like a lady with a map to navigate myself to the single like food stand in this like 3-acre museum to go get something to eat. And like she kind of didn't want to give me the map. She was like, "What do you need this for?" But you didn't just come in the door. I saw you come in from the museum, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm lost, but I gotta find the food court." So she kind of like doesn't even give me the. I don't think she even gave me the map. She just like pointed in the direction. She's like, "Go that way. That's where the food is." So I make it there, and then there's like this. It's like a 3-person line, but they took like 20 minutes to order because they felt like it, I guess. And then I was a wee little sophomore. I didn't have any money. I had $7 to my name. I was like, "Can I please get a hot dog and some chips?" And I got the hot dog and chips. I sat down to go eat alone, and I was so happy. I'd been walking around this labyrinth of a museum for like 3 hours,
It's the greatest
finally
hot
getting
dog ever.
food after a 2-hour bus drive. Yeah, it was great. And I open up my gullet to eat this hot dog, and they must have doused this thing in like grease or mustard because it immediately slips and falls onto the floor. And oh no, it falls onto the table. And then I'm like, maybe they cleaned the table. Maybe that crumb over there is like a mirage. I'm seeing something. I dropped the hot dog onto the table, the raw dog onto the table. And then I'm like, I put it back in the bun. I'm like, hold on. 5-second rule, this is good. It's just the table, it's not the ground.
Mhm.
And then I try to take another bite and it's still slippery, so it falls onto the floor that time. And then I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead to the Ice Age exhibit.
That must have been the
And then
worst
I
day
went home
ever.
hungry.
So, Jacob,
It
that
was
sounds like the saddest field trip story
it
I've ever.
was very sad. It was like the best field trip I've ever been on.
I could
Like the location of it. But it was
I'm,
a terrible time.
I'm picturing
I
Jacob.
spent
I can just imagine a tourist, like just a regular like visitor for the museum, like walking through. They see Jacob at the table, and it's like so sad because he's just like, oh, and like you just
dude,
see this
another thing,
sophomore.
I spent 57 minutes looking for like this 3D movie theater and it was closed. And I was like walking through these like back hallways with employee only sections. I'm like, excuse me, do you know where the theater is? There's all these signs in that museum, like, go see the 3D theater. And they're like, what the theater are you talking about? We don't have this. We
We don't have
have
a
bone.
theater here.
And then I finally find it and it's closed. And I'm sad. So I don't know. It was
Jacob,
an
what
okay
what
time.
museum did you say it was?
The Field Museum in Chicago.
I'm gonna go find that hot dog.
Yeah.
Maybe it's still there.
It's still on the ground next to that table.
You know,
Aged like 5
talking
years.
about science classes made me remember in sophomore year, first quarter, I had astronomy, and there's this guy in my class who was the strangest character I think I've ever met in my life. Because like the first day of astronomy class, I didn't know who he was. I think he was a senior at the time, and I was a sophomore. We went into the planetarium, and I didn't know anyone in that class. So the planetarium has like a good like 50, 60 seats, and there was only like 20 of us in the class. So very easy to sit by yourself. So I sit at a chair by myself in my own row, and this guy comes and sits at the seat directly next to me, which no. You don't do that here in
Yes.
America.
That's like using the same urinal as the guy next to you.
No, but he sits down next to me, just goes, "Hey," and then he puts his AirPods in and starts listening to the loudest country music I've heard in my life. It was so loud, and eventually, like, I got tired of listening to it. So, and he wasn't saying anything to me. So halfway through whatever we were doing in the planetarium, I get up, move over one seat away from him, and he just turns and looks at me with the biggest puppy dog eyes ever. Like, why'd you leave? Why'd you move? But this guy did so many strange things. Like in astronomy, every day at the start, we'd take a little mini quiz about the stuff we learned yesterday. And sometimes she'd do repeat questions from previous days. And one of the questions was, how many constellations are there? The answer is 88. And the thing is, on the first day, she told us this, and she pointed to this poster at the front of her room, which said it. It said it right there. 88 constellations. She was like, so if you ever get that question, just look right here. The answer's right there. This dude, we did peer reviews of these quizzes, and I had to peer review his every time. He got it wrong every time. How? How do you get it wrong? It's right there. And he sat in the front of the room. But there's this time where like the teacher was out of the room and he was like trying to charge his phone and he just grabbed a random box of colored pencils and he shouted, "Hey, y'all are the first ones to see a Samsung dumped into a bucket of colored pencils." Dumped it in the bucket, and then he just looked around and then just took it out. There's another time where he had like a can of like Coke or Pepsi or whatever. He just like looks one way, looks the other. The can was empty. Puts it on the floor and stomps on it with his foot as hard as he can. So it goes flying across the classroom. And the teacher like sees it and he just like looks around and then just gets up silently, walks over, picks it up, and then walks back to his seat. And there was
when you said the question, the test question, the 88 constellations or whatever that he kept getting wrong, that reminds me because when I'm taking a test and I like don't know the answer to the question, I will like look all around the room just in hopes that somewhere in the room I can find the answer on like one of the random posters they have.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's inscribed into this doorknob.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'll just stare off around the room just hoping that the answer will come to me.
Maybe
on the floor below my seat.
Maybe on my phone in this Google search bar, I can find the answer.
Maybe I wore a funny shirt with the answer. Let me check.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're getting near everything interesting that happened sophomore year. So I want to wrap it up with one final story about something that happened in the last day. A good story, a positive one. Sawyer's not going to complain this time. About a goated teacher. So fourth quarter, I had Mrs. Majeko for professional skills, and she is the goat. Okay, have any of you had her?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Well, one thing she does is at the end of every quarter, she makes grilled cheeses for everyone. She brings in a griddle and brings in all the ingredients and makes them right there in class, and it tasted so good. But
What?
You said like there's not a lot of ingredients.
okay, well, she would make
All the
special
ingredients.
ones with things in them. But anyway,
Dude, that's not fire.
at the end of every year, right, the last day of school, I had her fourth period, last period. So at the end of every year, we have to bring in our Chromebooks and our Chromebook charger and turn them in. But that day, I forgot my Chromebook charger. And that would mean that after school was over, I'd have to walk home, grab it, walk back to school, turn it in, and then walk back home again. That's like 45 minutes of walking. And I really did not want to do that. So it was fourth period in Majeko's class. I didn't have my Chromebook charger. Next period was advisory, which is when we had to turn it in. And I jokingly, this was a complete joke on my part, said, "Hey, Miss Majeko, why don't you just let me go home real quick and get my charger?" And you know what she said? "Yeah, okay." I go right ahead. It was middle of finals, and she just so
Finals when if you show up a minute late to class, they won't let you in. That's what they claimed. I don't think that ever actually happened.
It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't
Yeah,
happen.
the whole final thing. They're every year. They're like, you cannot be outside of class during finals. It is so important.
I mean, this year I just like asked to use the restroom and they let us. So
Well, this year they didn't care as much, but I feel like last year and freshman year they made a big deal about it.
But yeah, and like she asked me like, "How are you gonna get there?" And I said, "Oh, I'll just run there and back." And she's like, "No, take Corbin with you." So Corbin just drove me to my house mid-final. We got my charger and then we drove back to school. And I was
Did
so
you make
happy.
your way there and back in 5 minutes?
But yeah, my house isn't far away. It's a 15-minute walk, but like a 3-minute drive. 2 minutes. 3.
Wow.
Yeah, here's my address. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, sophomore year ended on a pretty good note in that regard. Go to teacher. I can't wait for next year, my senior year. I'm gonna have an internship with her for like the video making. So I'm essentially gonna be able to get graded on the ads I make for student council. So that's pretty cool.
On top of the student council grade you already get.
Yeah. Well, I think that just about wraps us up for episode 2 of the One Last Year podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. Next week we'll talk about junior year, where things got crazy, I think. Yeah, bye everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.